I'm responsible for geoscience, teaching geosciences and doing research in geosciences. So my talk is mostly considering geological perspectives for sustainable Arctic mining. But in the previous talk, there was already a little bit about the conditions what we are dealing when we are in the Arctic. So let's start about boundaries, conditions and challenges what are related to the Arctic. So, and thanks for the organizers to give the chance to talk about these issues. And Arctic is quite unique place. There's really, if we go to the high Arctic, there's not so much activities there, but related to climate change, there's happening quite a lot because ice-free summers may be in our future expected. So the Arctic area is unique because it is actually mostly ocean. Arctic Ocean is occupying this area, so land is only on the rims of the Arctic Ocean, and then Eurasian and North America is there, and we know that there's a lot of natural resources and also places for energy production related to oil and gas, and also it is a harsh environment, so we need quite a lot of new technology to act and work and go and be there in the Arctic. But there is a large geological potential for future discoveries. So let's look a little bit about the Arctic in overall. It looks like that without sea ice, actually. There's Greenland with the big ice sheet covering the whole Greenland, but in overall, I think this is quite interesting. Latitude 60 north, if we think about the Arctic, and this is not Arctic Circle, but it is the round from Helsinki to Stockholm to Iceland to around there, and then we have the whole Arctic Canada related, Alaska, and also the North Russia. So this is quite good definition for the Arctic operations or Arctic area. So the whole Fennoscandian is inside the Arctic in that sense. Arctic is still the Earth's few remaining frontiers areas where we don't have so much activities if we talk about the high Arctic, but there is a large metallogenic provinces. We know the shield areas where all the mineralizations are located, and they are actually quite world-class areas to explore and find new ore bodies. This is just a picture about the Arctic mining activities, how diverse actually it is, and I'm not going through all the details, but drivers. This climate change is actually a very prominent driver of the Arctic activities, and also that there's a geological resources available there. So people and companies are looking forward to going to Arctic, but the Arctic is in that there is a quite risk for accidents, for example, because quite a lot of land is frozen, and as already mentioned, the permafrost is very much pronounced there, and that sort of things. The impacts could be environmental, economic, of course the social, but the social benefits may be the good ones. There is a lot of work opportunities and such things, and also there's economic benefits to work for the local peoples, and as well as for the for the society in overall. And EU is actually looking quite demanding for new resources because the European countries actually are not so independent for the natural resources. And so Arctic is mostly, if we talk about Fennoscandian, it's a European north that is giving our for natural resources. And already mentioned about this, that Arctic is pretty fragile area, and there's also indigenous communities in many places, like in Greenland, the Inuits and the first nation people in the North America. So, and Sami people, for example, in Finland, and there is always discussions about the social license to operate in these areas, especially in the Arctic, high Arctic and Arctic areas. And there is some requirements are for this social license to operate, but it's not always the case that it is done. But there need to be a discussion and conversation with the local people when you are opening new mines and so on. And also there is a demand for new professionals. How are they available for actions in the Arctic and such things? But there is already quite a lot of availability of good, valid geodata, because the Fennoscandian is studied quite a lot. This is just showing how much potential there is in the Arctic and the Fennoscandian for new recoveries, and this is just that for example, EU is producing only 3% of metals that are used, and European countries are using 20 to 30% of Earth resources in the industry. But how much we get from our own land, it is pretty little still. And that's why the Arctic is opening in that way, that there is a possibility for new discoveries, like this marked is brown, and especially the Lapland is like an area where there may be going to be opened quite a lot of new mines that relates to for example, the gold and nickel and cobalt and so on. And of course the Russian side is very important, as well as the Sweden, North Sweden still. And something about the Greenland, it is pretty interesting because the ice sheet is diminishing, and so companies are looking around the Greenland quite a lot, and this make things more complicated. And there is already quite a lot of resources to be recovered from the around the ice sheets, where the outcrops and bedrocks are seen, and the rocks are similar than in Fennoscandian. So all the ores types what are seen here in Fennoscandian can be seen also from Greenland, like nickel and platinum mines, as well as, for example, there's one picture about Black Angel zinc lead mine, and you can see that there's a frozen sea there, and the mountains are there, and the mine is there on the hill of the mountain, and then there's a cable car, how people are going there and things. So very complicated to act. No harbors, very difficult to go around and to see the locations, but a lot of activities is going, and it is actually Greenland is the place where there's exploration going on for rare earth elements, and as well as the titanium and uranium, as well as the gold. something about interesting part that we may even have in the Arctic area some sulfide deposits in the Arctic oceans. So this is showing some of the hydrothermal locations in the mid-Atlantic ridge, that how these sulfide deposits are occurring. And for example, this area here north from Iceland is building up 9-10 meters sulfide chimneys that consist, for example, zinc and iron, especially zinc, and some associated silver and gold deposits. So that may be in some day also mined the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Mining in Finland, it is pretty interesting case. We are in the main spot in sense of finding good resource of the platinum metals in the layered intrusions there, as well as gold deposits, quite pronounced in many areas, and the Lapland is not yet fully studied in that sense. And Finland is an excellent place because the infrastructure is very much occurring already, and we may use mineral exploration with a very minimum impact to the environment and so on. We have high-level mining engineering skills and so on. But the rocks are just the right ones to activate this Arctic mining in Finland. And there's a really need for Arctic expertise in the mining industry at the moment. So because this sustainable mining and activities in the Arctic area needs sort of knowledge, little bit new technology, and there's a new business opportunities in mining technologies, how we can be more sustainable in our productions and so on. I think there's also the needs for new sort of education when we are going to the areas that are not so familiar for us. And something, I think this may be the last slide. I have some outlines for research activities and strategies, especially related to Oulu Mining School. We are doing one part of the Arctic University Arctic agenda because we are in the developing field for sustainable mining and production technologies, as well as doing research related to Arctic logistics. And our one field is this, that we studied mineral systems and mineral prospectivity, especially in Fennoscandian Shield, as well as this mine site geophysics is developing quite. And we need to know what's going on in the environmental sense in the Arctic at the moment. That's quite critical also, what are the frameworks for operations, for example. And the partnerships with the northern universities, it's like Luleå and Tromsø are very much in the same mood, that we should be more active in educating new young people for Arctic frameworks and also mineral resources. So I think I ended here. Thanks a lot.